What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to our live stream recap. 49ers versus Bills. The Bills kind of just completely took the 49ers to town, guys. We both thought it was going to be, or the three of us thought it was going to be a better game than it actually was. Anthony, what was your biggest takeaway from the loss tonight?
Josh Allen's a beast, you guys. I mean, in the preview show last night, I totally misunderstood. Not misunderstood. I can't think of the word. I did not expect Josh Allen to blow up. That's the bottom line. I really thought that this defense and the defensive line was at least going to be able to contain him. Boy, was I wrong. What was he? 32, 38, 300 plus yards, 4 touchdowns. Just an unbelievable performance from Josh Allen. So big shout out to him. But the real question is that the Niners kind of proved once again that stopping a very dynamic quarterback is not easy. And even if Josh Allen didn't really carry the ball much at all, that arm is energetic. His arm is fire, and the defense just couldn't keep up.
Yeah. To me, that's the big thing. It's one thing if Kyler Murray gets loose and like he's running, or Russell Wilson, he's running, and we kind of expected, okay, Josh Allen, if he gets out and he's able to run, the 49ers are going to be in trouble. He didn't do that. He killed us passing the ball. I mean, he had like one actual really scramble, and that was in garbage time. It didn't even matter at that point. He picked us apart all game long. It was embarrassing, actually, to see. I mean, Cole Beasley, seven catches on 7 targets for 113 yards and I think 2 touchdowns in that first half and a half. Cole Beasley. There's no excuse for that. Verrett and Sherman both looked awful tonight. The defense in general looked awful. This was, I think, the worst performance of the defense this season. And that's saying a lot. So, yeah, that was ugly. That was ugly.
Yeah, I was expecting a lot more. I wasn't able to get out of work until about 5:30-ish, and I raced home. The first half, I was so hyped at work. I'm watching on my phone. When they got that goal line stop on the first drive, I was like, oh my God, they're setting the tone. This is going to be a good game for the 49ers. Drive 99 yards just to get the same exact thing happen to them, which was kind of hilarious, but hilariously bad. I just feel like we were both, I keep saying both, the three of us were expecting a lot more. Mainly, is it fair to say out of the defense, guys? I mean, do you think we asked too much of them time and time after again, and they just simply cannot continue to keep the whole team in the game?
Well, I don't think they can keep the team in the game if the offense isn't in the game. And
Right.
I mean, that's been kind of the story all year, is that the defense is only – I really feel like the defense is only as good as long as they can get rest and stay off the field, because that happens with any football team, you guys. If the defense is left out to dry for too long and the offense is bad, they're going to underperform. The problem is that when the offense is our bad, and we need the offense to be good, and if it's not, the defense is going to suffer. And that's why the defense, I thought, was good for basically one full quarter, is that the offense was actually somewhat moving the ball. But then once the punts start happening and once Mullins is throwing interceptions, that's pretty much all she wrote from there. So I think in a sense you can pin the defense and Saleh for failing to make adjustments like to Cole Beasley. But again, once the offensive inefficiency stacks up, there's not much you can make adjustments.
I think it's a double-edged sword. You have to pin some blame on Saleh and the defense. They didn't adjust. They got picked apart on curls. That there was on that touchdown to what's his name? Greg something or other.
Gabriel Davis.
Yeah, that guy. Sherman just stopped running and just let him free ran right past him. And I think he was expecting Dante Johnson with help over the top, but at the same time, there was nobody running to Sherman's zone. So why would he drop him off there? It was really bad. But I think the defensive woes were exacerbated by the fact that the offense didn't score for 2 full quarters. From midway through the first to midway through the third, they put up no points. And they really didn't even put up much resistance as far as, extending drives. And when you do that, again, whatever adjustments you're not making are only going to be magnified under that as the defense starts to get tired. And we saw that, Allen was sitting back there and able to just pick wherever he wanted to throw the ball, and it just worked every which way. So all the way around, I mean, if we didn't know it now, know it before, we definitely know it now. Nick Mullins is not the guy. I don't think Jimmy's the guy. If anybody who was like, hey, they're not going to be looking quarterbacks, that's complete BS. They're definitely looking quarterbacks. Josh Allen was able to extend some plays in the pocket and roll out and get outside of the pocket, even though he wasn't running the ball. And Kyle's going to look at that and see enough of that and go, well, I kind of need that, because the way that Allen was extending plays, that's not something any quarterback on our roster can do right now. And
Nope.
you need that dynamic aspect in a quarterback in 2020 and going into 2021. That's just the way the position is played now. And, so everybody who's like, oh, Kyle Trask is a pocket passer statue. He's not going to get it done. That's not what we need. So, it's one of those things where if the offense isn't playing and we see that we have a glaring need at quarterback, the defense is going to fall behind too.
Unfortunately, I think that's just where this team is. I don't know if Raheem Mostert and Debo were injured or if they aggravated any of their previous injuries, but the fact that Raheem Mostert had like no carries or a very small amount of carries for the majority of the game, Debo had like one catch. I think he went the whole first half without a catch. I don't know how that works. How do you expect to win against a team as good as Buffalo Bills without utilizing your two best players on offense? That was kind of puzzling to me. I don't know why he was putting so much on Mullins. He did okay for the most part, but it's typical Mullins. You can't get great play from him, especially consistently. You might get a great throw, one or two a game, but to ask for him to carry the team is just too much.
I agree. And that's the thing is that, look, we know Nick Mullins is not a capable starter, but I think if you look at how he's just played, he's playing like a backup would. And I mean, the people that hold him to such high expectations, no offense, Zach, it's realistically unlikely. And you look at the scenario Nick Mullins is in. I mean, if all of his weapons are healthy, if the defense is healthy, I think Nick Mullins is definitely serviceable and he can win games. It's just everything around him has to be complete and perfect. And quite frankly, Nick Mullins cannot thrive in the situation he's in now. You heard what Matt said. We don't have a quarterback that can play make. We don't have a guy that can move in the pocket. We only saw it a couple of times where Kyle Action ran bootleg play action tonight, and those plays both worked. They worked very well. Now imagine a quarterback who can do that consistently or make an off-script play like such as Josh Allen. It extends the offense and opens the door entirely. But when you have a quarterback who's just stuck in the pocket, your offense is honestly limited. It's limited by 100%, and there's not much more you can do about it.
Yeah. Mullins is bad. Ball placement, again, is a huge issue with Mullins. He's always throwing behind the receivers. Zach, to your point, Mostert had 9 carries for 42 yards. But I think a lot of that, again, is what we talked about. When you're behind in a game and your offense doesn't score for 2 quarters, you have to throw the ball. I don't think that Shanahan wanted, Nick Mullins to throw the ball 39 times, but that's what happened. And when you have that happen, I mean, you get the results that you get. It's cool that they scored a late touchdown or whatever. That's fine, but this is an offense that struggles to put up 20 points in a game, and it's just there's no excuse for that. And other than they did good on the first scripted drive. They got 4th down. They were stuffed. Which, by the way, who wasn't expecting that shotgun run to happen? That happened every time, and they did it again.
Yeah.
Which is a quibble that I have with Shanahan's play calling sometimes. But I mean, at least this time they had a guy, running across the formation in motion. So maybe it's a jet sweep or something like that, right? But again, didn't get it done. At the same time, Mullins consistently bad ball placement, which leads to the interception that came off of Brandon Ayuk's hands because he had to go down to the ground to get the ball, and that's a hard catch to make. And granted, he should have caught it, but why not just put it on his hands? I mean,
right. Or then even the interception at the end of the game when it's out of reach, Tre'Davious White to Jeff Wilson,
and that was behind Jeff Wilson.
Yeah, if it's in front of him, it's a touchdown. It is absolutely a touchdown.
Exactly.
I'm just agreeing with you, man. It's a matter of just inconsistency with Nick Mullins, and he's a backup.
And by the way, Zach, Debo Samuel did have 6 catches for 73 yards.
Right, but the first half he didn't have a single catch.
But Ayuk was getting off.
Debo only had 1 touch in the first half, though. He had 1 carry.
That's what it was. Yeah.
That's tough.
So,
that's honestly really tough.
Yeah, that's not a winning formula. So
but here's the thing. I want to touch on this because this kind of I noticed something on defense today that I've come to really dislike, and I think it'll be alleviated after this year if Richard Sherman sticks to what he thinks is going to happen and he's gone. The reason why you don't see Debo Samuel in the first half was Tre'Davious White was covering him for most of the first half. And then when Ayuk was getting off, what'd they do? They moved Tre'Davious White over to Brandon Ayuk, and then Debo Samuel started getting off. The thing with Sherman is he plays only on that left side. That's the only side he's going to play. And you could see it. They're moving guys, and whether it's Diggs or Beasley, and they're putting them on the crappy cornerback that they know that they can pick on because Sherman's not going to travel with their top guy. Yeah. So it's just something that I don't think that it works in today's NFL, that you could just be, I'm the left cornerback. I don't think that works. And, it gives a little bit of weight to what, and I don't want to give weight to anything that he says, but, when you're talking about, and I'm blanking on his name now, cornerback beef, who from the Jets.
Darrell Revis.
Darrell Revis. There we go. Yeah. It gives weight to what he says, where he's like, you're not a lockdown guy because you don't travel. And I think at this point, it's like, we're seeing more and more limitations of Sherman. And, I think it might be time for him to go. Beyond that, Verrett looked bad tonight. It was just ugly all the way around. Ward got picked on. The secondary was terrible.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they had nothing for the Bills all game long.
No, just like this comment, Cole Beasley looked like prime Wes Welker. He had 113 yards, I think, in the first half, career high alone.
Yep.
They just couldn't stop him. But real quick, I need to address it. Obviously, I picked Mullins as the MVP going into this game, offensive MVP. That clearly didn't happen.
No.
I thought he had an all right game up until the first half, and then it kind of started to crumble and fall apart. One of the interceptions I wouldn't put on him. That one was bobbled by Ayuk, and then Micah Hyde kind of took that back. But it's classic Mullins. It's just classic Mullins. And I know he's great as far as processing, and he understands the game really well. He just doesn't have the physical talents to pair with that mental capabilities. Right. And that's just ultimately his downfall, and why he cannot be a top tier starter. He's bottom level starter, upper level backup. I think that's where I'm comfortable putting him at. As far as the defense, there was a comment in here earlier. I don't know who saw it. Do you guys put this more on Saleh or more on the players?
I'm going to let Matt take that first.
I think it's a combination of both. But I would say today probably more on the players, because Saleh did make some adjustments to what they were running. It just didn't work. And when you're trying to adjust things and it doesn't work, the corners were giving up so much cushion on a lot of those plays. And then when they would play up, the Bills would beat them over the top. So it's kind of like a pick your poison sort of thing. It was just a really off night for the secondary overall. For the entire team, really. Again, like you said, Mullins looks okay, but here's my problem. He looks okay in spots where it doesn't really matter. When you're midway through the second quarter and you need an extended drive and get some points before the half, he can't do it. He'll get you garbage time points. He'll get you the scripted points. He'll get you the either first or second drive coming out of the half points. But beyond that, he doesn't get you anything. So, he's going to pat himself. He's going to get his little yardage or whatever. But outside of scripted drives from, the beginning of the game or after the half, or when the defense is in, kind of their prevent defense and you're running up tempo, Nick Mullins is a between the 20s quarterback. He's going to get you work between the 20s, pick himself up a bunch of yards, have a high completion percentage, but he's not putting up the points. So it's not good. It's not good. And I'm looking at Semper Fi's comment. Sure, pocket QBs can thrive given the right system, but all things being equal, if a quarterback's mobile, why wouldn't you want that extra dynamic element to him?
Yeah.
At this point, why wouldn't you?
And everyone will talk about it best, man. You look at Josh Allen, you look at Mahomes, you look at their tangibles, and it's like,
how far down the list do you get before you get to a pure pocket passer?
Yeah. And look, I think obviously having a quarterback like Allen and like Mahomes is just such a luxury because they're such dynamic quarterbacks. But if you look at just all the quarterbacks that are coming out of draft classes these days, Justin Herbert is huge, but that dude can move. Obviously, you're getting all these big athletic quarterbacks that not only have cannons, but they can just shift and move the pocket. And it's just kind of the problem these days is that quarterback or pocket passers are just naturally dying. Look at Drew Brees. I know Drew Brees had 11 ribs broken, but damn well his younger self would have tried to break that pocket. And that's,
Wait, did you hear that? Drew Brees just broke another rib.
That's that crack I heard.
Did you guys just real quick, Anthony, not to cut you off, but did you hear the commentator saying and Street was, subject to that controversial hit against the Saints? I don't think that was that controversial. He just kind of fell on him.
Controversial at all.
Okay. No, I don't even. That okay, so that's people were screaming about that flop on Josh Allen. And look, I get it. It's a flop, but even if he didn't flop, they're still going to throw that
Can't
flag.
do it.
Just the league that we play or that we watched today.
Yep.
And that is just inexcusable. And I swear the moment that happened, you really just I mean, if that didn't happen, it was 3rd and 18, and the Niners were still very much in reach of winning the game. But it's just a boneheaded play.
Yeah,
and
it really is.
You can't do that.
To touch on those two plays real quick, that play and the illegal contact by Sherman that negated Warner's interception, I believe both of those drives went on to score either 2 touchdowns or a touchdown and a field goal. I don't really remember the first one. That really hurt the 49ers.
I think they scored a field goal on the illegal contact drive.
Okay, yeah, that sounds about right because I think it was like 10-7 or something like that. So
but
that
still, if you got an athletic guy at corner, which Sherman is not, then he doesn't necessarily need to make that illegal contact. At that point.
That's exactly what it was. He ran right by him and he got scared and he grabbed him.
Yeah. And then did you see afterwards too? Afterwards, when he went by him and Sherman turned around and then Diggs cut it back and Sherman was 20 yards past him.
Yeah,
it's like that was a clinic in route running that made it was embarrassing for Sherman. The penalty, the fact that he got beat twice on the same play. I mean, it was just overall really embarrassing for Sherman.
Yeah.
It really was. I think that, he must have come out. I don't know if he saw ahead into this game and was like, no, I'm not coming back next year or what, because the writing was on the wall prior to tonight. But tonight, I think, solidified the fact that.
No, I think he really thinks that he's going to command big money on the market, and I just don't see it.
Wow. I mean, he's got a giant ego.
Play like that, play bad, and come back cheap as a safety, he can do that. That's fine with me.
Sure.
100%. I think it's funny that he did say he'd move to the safety towards the end of his career, but I feel like he's the type of guy that if they were to present him with that move, he'd probably get offended. And he's like, I'm not at the end of my career yet. Why are you guys asking me to do this? Yeah. That's just kind of the vibe I get from him.
I want to address Semper Fi. When you say it's a staple of the West Coast offense, are you talking about where Mullins puts the ball? Because Mullins doesn't put the ball on the front shoulder. He puts it on the back shoulder. He throws it behind receivers all the time. So I hope you're agreeing with me, like that Mullins has terrible ball placement because he consistently throws behind. There was one where he was getting rushed and he threw it like 4 yards behind Jeff Wilson. It was like his check down on that all out blitz, and he just threw it 4 yards behind him. So no, Mullins is bad. I addressed this the last time that the 49ers lost, and I'm going to address it again until it happens. But I'm so sick of not seeing elite play for the 49ers. And we go up against all these guys that are just so good that I'm just like, I just can't stand not having a great quarterback. It's
yeah. It's funny is that you watch a game like this go down and you compare it to last week's game against the Rams, and that almost feels like an anomaly. It's the reality is that Kyle Shanahan and this team has the blueprint to beat the Rams. But the moment you put a very good team in front of the 49ers and you give them the shot to take on Josh Allen, that's pretty much all she wrote.
Okay, Semper Fi's agreeing with me. Cool. Yeah. John Ledyard tweeted out earlier. He was like, listen, if you got an elite QB in here with the system and the weapons that you have, they would the 49ers would be ruling the NFC if they were healthy. Yeah. Like with a great QB in the system, they would be ruling the NFC. And I 100% agree. Jimmy's not it. Nick's not it. We damn sure know that CJ isn't it, even though CJ is probably going to be wherever Kyle Shanahan is for the rest of his career. But, it's just – and I look at these college guys, we just watched Justin Fields this last weekend, and it's just like, why can't we have that?
I know.
I just want that.
To speak to your point, too, look at what they were able to do last year with just a slightly above competent quarterback who could make the throws when needed and not make most of the dumb throws when it's needed. Jimmy would have his occasional Jimmy throw or two per game, but for the most part, he was solid. And the 49ers were able to advance all the way to the Super Bowl with that. I think
the thing with Jimmy this year, though, that he looks different is that he looks like he panics under pressure now.
There's no confidence.
The big hits that he's taken are catching up to him mentally. And we saw this happen with David Carr for the Texans, who just got hit and hit and hit and hit. And then you get happy feet, and it just everything falls apart from that point. And I think that Jimmy's to the point where it's either got to be a change of scenery or something that he just doesn't have confidence in the pocket. And I kind of don't blame him because the line play has been very subpar this year. But again, if you're going to have subpar lines, then you know that's why you need that dynamic playmaker, because then they can get outside or do something else, right? Russell Wilson has never had a good offensive line, but he makes it work because he can move. So that aspect, it makes that aspect of Jimmy's game that's lacking even more glaring by comparison because of his struggles with it. What QB? I mean, if I had my choice of any, it'd be Trevor Lawrence, but that's not going to happen. So Justin Fields or Zach Wilson would probably be my next, like right there. And then, I mean, if you want a project guy and keep Garoppolo around for a year or two, maybe take a chance on Trey Lance. But outside of that, I mean, that's tough.
I don't know, Matt. I know you don't.
I'd rather go get Sam Darnold than one of those
quarterbacks.
What's that?
You don't like those North Dakota quarterbacks.
I don't. And the fact that he only played one game this season is really concerning to me, because what are you getting? I mean, he's missing on a whole year of play and development. So to me, Trey Lance becomes a project quarterback because of that.
You know that, I mean, the door
fair.
and we can really just go on with the quarterback talk all we want. But hey, sure, let's get into some positives, you guys, because I know obviously this loss sucks and really the playoff hopes all got shut down at this point. Yep. But man, obviously Tre'Davious White was shadowing Deebo Samuel all night long. But you see what happens when you give Brandon Ayuk the opportunity to feast, and he just lights it up entirely. And I mean, I know I picked him to be my MVP in the preview show, and I would say he obviously showed up on offense today. But when you see that you have someone like Deebo Samuel who does draw that attention, it opens up your offense entirely. In this case, Brandon Ayuk. Matt even said it earlier. The moment Tre'Davious White shifted over to Ayuk's side, Deebo Samuel started opening up. Mm-hmm. So I got to get you guys' input. What was it about Ayuk today that really impressed you guys, and what can you look forward to him moving forward?
I'll go first.
Yeah.
I think what really impressed me, for one, is his ability to come back after making a mistake. When he had that bobbled pass and ended up getting picked, you'd probably see a lot of rookies kind of really blame themselves and take that hard and maybe not be able to come back and make the play next time. But he did, and he redeemed himself with that 49-yard pass that was underthrown, and he was able to make an adjustment and catch the ball. That was really nice to see. Mm-hmm. I think he understood the magnitude of this game and what was at stake here. And unfortunately, the 49ers weren't able to pull it off, but he still balled out. I was really impressed with what we saw from Ayuk today, actually. And I think that him paired with Deebo, just like Matt said earlier, Tre'Davious White was on one or the other, and you can't stop both. So that's going to be really lethal for the 49ers moving forward. Granted, they have a competent quarterback to get them the ball.
And this is why, that quarterback competency is so important. And I know Semper Fi is saying it in the chat, the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks will be gone. Screw that, man. I'm trading picks to go get the guy that I think is the guy. Sir. I don't care. I don't care what it takes. Overpay. I don't care. You can't. You literally, if you have the right guy and he turns into an elite quarterback, you cannot overpay to get that guy. So, but Ayuk and Deebo Samuel working together, I mean, you can't stop them both. And now think about it, if you have a healthy George Kittle and a healthy offensive line that'll provide some protection for whoever's quarterbacking, and then Raheem Mostert can run the ball because you have to worry about all those passing threats now. And so this offense, when it is healthy, if you have the right guy who's has to be better than Nick Mullins. You can get by with a Jimmy Garoppolo because he is better than Nick Mullins. That's clear. But, I mean, this offense, again, with Jimmy G, I think that last year, the offense averaged 29 points a game. That's pretty good. So, it's just, I don't know. This has been a rough season. Injuries have really derailed what's been going on, and I really think that we haven't been able to see this team at full strength. And it's kind of like a tease that we see little pieces. So, last week Deebo comes back and he has some cool stuff happen, and you're just like, oh man, Deebo. And then this week, Brandon Ayuk, he goes off, and you're just like, oh, man. And you just want everybody together. So, until you get there.
Yeah.
By the way, I agree with Jenna. Dante Johnson needs to go. He was trash tonight.
Man, the whole secondary was
rash.
Yeah. There was that play where he had the running back hit in the backfield. He just bounced right off of him. Yeah. And just picks up another 7-8 yards. Come on.
Right.
Hey, shout out to Deion Jordan, though, for smashing Josh Allen on that play.
That was a nice hit.
Woo. Yeah. Yep. Deion Jordan. That smoke. That's the thing, too, is that I honestly thought the defensive line was getting pressure. Josh Allen was breaking the pocket quite a bit because the interior or exterior push was getting there. And that's the thing we talked about in the previous shows, that the Bills' offensive line wasn't that good. The defensive line was getting after him, but that's just what happens when you don't hit home, is that you have a guy who can just break free and do whatever he wants, especially with that arm talent. And you see it too. You see, I know it was late in the game, but the moment Deion Jordan just hit Josh Allen, and he hit him hard. The moment you see that happening, you see Josh Allen kind of got up and he was a little frazzled. You can see it too. And that's just what happens when you have that kind of pressure and you can get those hits on a quarterback. And again, it's what sucks is that you see this team really tease what could happen if they're fully healthy. And if you put a healthy Nick Bosa on this defensive line with whatever else is going on, it changes the dynamic entirely. But again, it's just when the defense can't hit home on pressure, and we saw it was almost like last year too. If the defensive line wasn't hitting home, odds are the secondary wasn't doing as good. And that's even the big story this year too, is that we've all been hyping up the defensive line so well, which is true. They've been playing well. But the thing is we saw it today, the moment the defensive line can't hit home, the secondary is the worst in the league. And I really thought the secondary played like one of the worst in the league tonight.
Yeah,
they did. They really did, unfortunately. And when you're constantly only rushing 4 and not getting any pressure, that's not helping that secondary out at all. And I was hoping for it to be a better matchup with the DBs and the wide receivers of the Bills, but it wasn't. They just had the secondary's number the entire night. Stephon Diggs, he had his 1,000-yard season tonight, and he just balled out. Cole Beasley balled out. Gabe, whatever, balled out. Like these guys who nobody really knew of, at least Gabe, balled out. And the 49ers are getting very close to being that team where everybody has a career day against, unfortunately. They were that team for the longest time, and it was so embarrassing.
Yep.
And Matt, you texted in the chat during the game, like, this is an embarrassing performance. And that's really what it was, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was embarrassing all the way around. I know we got a lot of quarterback talk in the chat, and I love it. Listen, I got to address this too, because this pisses me off. Listen, if the quarterbacks aren't getting it done, you go and get a new guy. Okay, this whole Kyle Shanahan system bullshit is just bullshit. That's what it is. Like, if Kyle Shanahan can't dumb down his playbook for a rookie QB that you think is like the good guy, then how great a coach is Shanahan? He can either do it or he can't. Jimmy's first 5 games here, he looked like a superstar and it got him paid. He didn't have any experience in Shanahan's system, so that really doesn't play with me. Like, if these guys aren't getting it done, go and get a guy. And you can say Sam Darnold, but like, that's a retread guy. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
No offense. No offense. That's just my opinion, and everybody's entitled to their opinion. I could very well be wrong. I don't know. But just from me, I just think if you're really that good a coach, it shouldn't matter what, like, you tailor your system to your players. You don't make, it's like that fitting the square peg into a round hole thing. You can't do it, right? You have to just adjust for a little while.
Yep.
But going back to the embarrassment part, out of focus Anthony over here, which I
know. Like me today.
Right? But listen, I get it, coach. Like, I get it. You got to adjust the system though. Like, I know it's not easy to learn. That's why, listen, if you got to bottle feed them, you bottle feed them. Right. But at this point, we know what Jimmy Garoppolo is. We know what Nick Mullins is. And it's not enough to necessarily compete with the upper echelon offenses. So we need a dynamic guy. That's all I'm saying. So, Anthony has no head now. There he goes. Okay.
Dark Anthony.
And, I actually want to talk about that real quick too.
Yeah.
In Kyle Shanahan's offense, we see how much he schemes open, plays. He will scheme open almost any play he wants. It's that you don't necessarily need a quarterback with like the big arm talent, but you don't need a guy who is like a Mullins and Garoppolo who can't hit a throw 20 yards downfield. The least you can ask for is like what people talk about with Matt Stafford, is that you have a quarterback who can hit all levels of the field. And then from there, you either trust that he can hit the wide open receiver downfield and at least launch it 25, 30 yards, or just hit something intermediate. And that's the thing, is that people judge the quarterback so critically, and it's rightfully so, that you look at last season, Jimmy Garoppolo honestly couldn't hit a 30-yard throw downfield if the dude wasn't wide open, or if it was Emmanuel Sanders who got away with a little bit of a tug in New Orleans and kind of pulled him down and caught it. You know what I mean? It's that the quarterback really just limits it entirely. And it's just, as long as you can get a quarterback who can hit a throw or do anything, they'll excel in Kyle Shanahan's offense. It's so tailored for a quarterback to do well. And you see the quarterbacks that we have, and they can't even hit a throw on the front shoulder to a guy crossing not even 5 yards downfield. It is so abysmal. It is so abysmal.
And the other thing is decision making. Jimmy Garoppolo and Nick Mullins are terrible decision makers. They put the ball at risk too many times. Nick Mullins had another couple throws tonight where like he's getting hit and he just like lets it go and like just closes his eyes. And I'm just like, oh.
Yeah. I couldn't believe he finished with 2 interceptions. He should have had at least 5.
Yeah, it was really bad. By the way, Zach, I just saw your Santa Claus.
You like that? Yeah. All right, guys.
Pretty good.
I got to show this real quick to everybody here. This is our newest design. If you want it, I'll put the link in the chat. 15% off, code HIVE15. Let me share my screen. Here we go. Check this out. New design just came out tonight. Let me know what you guys think. Santa Claus. Nice, glorious beard on him. Men, women, yeah. So make sure you guys go and check that out. I'll drop the link in the chat. Have some fun with it. Oh,
whoa.
Which one?
Oh, hey.
Whoa.
Why did it change on us?
I don't know.
Man.
You did it. You broke it.
Hey, that's okay. I mean, I'll look good. Ah, damn.
There we go. Number 5. You like? Yeah, this is on our Teespring store too. We had to do it. Had to have some fun with it, man.
So, can you guys?
Jenna, I'm leaning towards Zach Wilson.
Yeah, definitely. Can you guys? Is it safe to say that the playoff hopes are shut down?
Yep.
Yeah,
that's definitely something I want to talk about. At least just touch on it. I mean, this team, I would say, obviously, at the beginning of the season, before all the injuries, they were definitely built to make another long, sustained playoff run. And it's a matter of the injuries and quarterback play that just constantly stack up on one another, and it kind of just ruins the entire vision. And you see that the Niners, like I just said earlier, was that they can beat a Rams who they have the blueprint to beat, but you go up against a good team like the Bills, and it just all falls apart. And now you come into next week against the Washington football team that is very much energized after beating the Pittsburgh Steelers unbelievably.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can look at the stories all you want, Alex Smith, whatever you want, but the bottom line is that it's going to take a miracle for the Niners to make the off. But I mean, is it beyond a reasonable doubt that we can say that I think that window is shut for this season?
Yeah. Well, and say what you want football team, but Alex Smith wins. So he got cleated tonight, bled all over the place, but still was able to pull out a victory. And it's kind of been his little thing. Like since since Harbaugh came to town, I don't think Alex Smith has really had a losing season that he's like completed. So they're a dangerous team right now, as far as I'm concerned.
That defense is nasty on Washington. Oof. I would not want to be the quarterback behind our offensive line.
Oh no! Yeah, Chase Young might hurt Nick Mullins for sure.
Might. Yeah. Alex Smith, comeback player of the year. Hell yeah!
The minute he stepped back on the field, even if it was for one play, that it should be his. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%. Anthony, as far as the playoffs though, is it still mathematically possible? Probably, but just like Josh had, we need to win out and help from other teams. I just really don't think it's going to happen. There's too many other teams right now that are better than the 49ers. They'll likely end up there. They don't need as much help. And I just don't think that even if they were to make it, we're looking at a first-round exit. So what good does that really do for this team?
Exactly. Yeah.
Just focus on
earlier, though. I mean, if we miraculously made the playoffs, I don't think that changes the picture that the Niners should still trade up for a quarterback. I mean, it's the most important position in all of sports, in any sport. And this team, they just got to improve, and they just got to upgrade at the spot no matter what happens.
Yeah, we are behind the Cardinals, the Vikings, and the Buccaneers for any shot at a wild card spot right now.
I don't see that. I can't see it.
And the Vikings, honestly, the Vikings have played really well. I think in like his last 4 games, Kirk Cousins has like 14 touchdowns and 2 picks.
Yeah, money Cousins.
It's just like,
even with the extra spot, it's really tough for them to get in there this year.
It's tough. They'd have to win out. Absolutely, they'd have to win out.
Yeah.
Because I don't think 8-8 is going to make it.
No way. No.
So.
All right, we're going to start wrapping things up here. If you guys want to share any final thoughts moving forward, do you guys think they'll win the next game against the Redskins? Oh, sorry, Washington football team.
Whoa.
That's like the third time today.
How do I remove this dude?
We just got demonetized, I bet. No, I'm just
Dang
kidding.
it.
Look, do you guys think that?
Come on, man. I needed my Christmas bonus, Zach. What the hell?
So much for my Santa Claus shirt.
Dang it.
Do you
All
guys
right,
think
you guys go buy more merch than ever because Daddy needs some new shoes over here. Jesus.
There you go. Is there too much momentum there? Is it even worth trying to win? Should they just fight and see what happens?
Listen, they're professionals. They're going to try to win. I mean, but it's just a matter of, is it realistic if they're going to? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
You know,
And look, I will never promote a team to lose. I will promote a team to improve at positions by any means. And obviously, quarterback's the big one. And that's the thing, too, is that I thought the team played coached up. They played hard all night long. It's just what happens when you have bad offense, bad defense, and you don't execute. But that doesn't stop them from playing hard. So coming into this Washington team, they are going to play very hard. I think it will be a
close game.
It'll be a close game. It feels like one of those like 10-7, 13, kind of like last year's Washington game, you know? It definitely has that vibe to it. It's just, just after watching tonight, it's hard to really see how the Niners can come into this really wanting to be pumped up and trying to attempt to win when you have a Washington team that is playing. I think they're literally playing for Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera has that team up in flames in a good way. Those guys are on fire.
Yeah. And this, how they finish also goes back to Jenna's question into how much the 49ers, if they go quarterback in the draft, how much they'd have to give up. So what Zach's saying is, how much would it behoove them to kind of like maybe, take the L's? And of course, draft position, that's really going to matter because it could be the difference between giving up an extra 4th round pick or giving up an extra 3rd round pick. You never know. But they're going to have to, if they finish outside of the top 10, they're going to have to give up a lot to get to a spot to pick one of the top 3. Because you think about it, the Jets are definitely going to take Trevor Lawrence. They'd be dumb not to. Jacksonville is most likely going to take Justin Fields, although I think depending on how Combine goes, maybe they like Zach Wilson a little more. But listen, Justin Fields is no consolation prize. That's for sure. Like I would be happy with Justin Fields too. So
very much,
but it has to be one of those top 3 guys because I don't think that anybody outside of those 3 is worth it. But for the rest of the season, Washington's going to be a winnable game. It's going to be a tough game. Dallas, I definitely think is a winnable game. They can beat the Cowboys. I'm not too worried about that. And then you kind of, I don't know, it's going to depend on where they are because if they are in that hunt, maybe then you risk bringing back Jimmy Garoppolo or George Kittle, right? Right. If they're out of it, maybe you just kind of hold them off and be like, not this year, boys.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's really going to depend on where they are.
Unfortunately, that's just where we're at. It's such a weird year. We're 13 weeks into the year and we're talking about, well, we can still make the playoffs, but we can still fight for a good draft pick. Like, it's such a weird year, dude.
Right.
Nothing is normal anymore. There's no sense of normalcy in any fashion of life anymore.
JLE's got a little comment in here. Fields needs another year in college. Why? Because he needs to be number 1 and not number 2?
I think he'd be solid.
Point, you're just risking injury in college at that point. Mm-hmm. Just get out.
Let's get that guaranteed. Quarterbacks in the top 10 make so much guaranteed money. Oh my God. Fields is coming out. There's no way he won't.
Listen, Kyle said Jimmy would be back because that's the thing he has to say. But the body language and how Kyle has been interacting with Jimmy this year tells me that Kyle does not like Jimmy Garoppolo.
Nope. I mean,
it's readily apparent.
We talked about it. When you can say
the 49ers can save like $23 million getting rid of him.
Yeah. Yep. And a controlled salary for 4 years.
40 free agents on the horizon also. 40 free agents.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You can't make the argument
that's 40 on like the top 60 players. That's not like 40 on like the 90-man preseason roster.
No, that's 40 legitimate players.
Yeah.
You can't make the argument that keeping Jimmy is worth potentially losing Fred Warner in the next couple of years.
Right.
and not being able to sign Nick Bosa to an extension, shore up the back end of the
Bosa's
defense.
on the hook for another 3 years. I'm not worried about him right now.
Debo's going to come fast, though.
But getting a rookie quarterback on a 4-year contract that with the potential figure, like that really helps. That
absolutely.
Really.
And that's why you see most of the teams competing outside of Tom Brady it's always early in their career. Russell Wilson, early in his career, was going to Super Bowls. Aaron Rodgers, early in his career. Mahomes is now in the spot where he's right on that cusp because he just signed the deal. But again, those contracts are going to catch up to KC. They're living on borrowed time right now. They have so much front-loaded money that it's going to come back and bite them in the ass. Mm-hmm. But the guys like Ben Roethlisberger, Super Bowls when he's young. It's kind of the blueprint for the league. Outside of Tom Brady, who took discounts, you can't expect that from everybody. But you see that. It's the young guys on their early deals where they're not making money that make the Super Bowl. And I think that we're to the point now where it's like, is Jimmy a capable starting quarterback? Absolutely. But is it worth spending, potentially losing free agents to spend the $23 million we could save to keep a okay quarterback on the roster? I just don't know.
Hey, we could be the Saints. I mean, the Saints literally have negative, they owe. Have you seen the Saints' salary cap? That's really bad.
Yeah.
I mean, they're on the hook for all kinds of stuff. And I'm disagreeing with you, though, man. It's just you see how affordable rookie contracts are. I mean, when you factor in, obviously the Chiefs would never redo the trade for Patrick Mahomes because Mahomes brought them. And you got to factor in that it's okay to expend draft capital if it means that you're going to get your guy and you're confident in that guy. And the thing is that you can build a team around a young person, just like Matt's saying, just like they've done with Wilson, Rodgers, Ben, everyone. You can build a young team around the quarterback. It's just making sure that the entire team and the quarterback itself is affordable.
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt if you trade up for Mahomes and then finesse the 49ers out of a second-round pick for a guy that plays 7 games for them.
A guy without a back.
I do. Somebody said it during the preview show, and I really hope that D4 does the team a solid and retires so we don't have to pay him. There's no dead cap money. I think Solid's going to hit the shower one day with a lead pipe and just on his way
to the
out,
knees
to Detroit or whatever. He's like, I got you, Kyle. I got you.
Yep. I think we're gonna be wrapping things up here, guys. I still gotta go make some dinner, but I just want to end on one positive note.
Yes.
At least the 49ers didn't lose to the Giants like Seattle just did, and they have Russell Wilson. There's literally no excuse for that.
True.
So that means Nick Mullins is better than Russell Wilson.
It's some weird universe.
Thanks for joining us tonight, guys. We love you.
Look, bro, thank you all for tuning in. We had a blast. I know it wasn't the outcome we wanted, but we still love coming on here, hopping on live with you guys. If you're here for the first time, hit that subscribe button. Do us a solid. We're trying to get to 2,000 subscribers. As soon as we do, we'll be giving away our 5th 49ers jersey. Like this video, drop a comment. And we also do a show Tuesday through Friday, usually. Niners News. We drop a new episode every morning, so keep an eye out for that.
This will be Wednesday through Friday this week.
That's right. Yeah.
But go ahead and click the bell so you never miss the notifications. Thanks again for joining us, guys. We love having you. And until next time.